How are you?
I'm good.
Everybody doing okay there?
Yeah.
How's your mom?
She is good.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. How about you? You feeling okay?
Kind of.
Are you able to sort of isolate yourself, or is that impossible at home?
No, it's not possible.
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Because now I'm caring about my sister, so I
Oh,
can't.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Oh boy. Well, everything will be okay.
I hope so.
It will be, I'm sure. I hope. Menuveva, are you there too?
Yes.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. I'm sorry I didn't respond to your message yesterday. Maybe we can meet this afternoon. Does that sound good?
Okay, no problem.
Oh, good, good.
At which hour, please?
Let me pull up my little calendar and we'll figure this out, right? Okay.
Good morning, Zara.
Good morning.
Do you want to meet today at 3 o'clock?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Got it. We've got that. A minute. Hey, have you heard anything about programs for the fall?
No. I didn't. I'm starting checking my email since I was at the hospital last week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully you can do that, and hopefully there will be something. They'll have some interesting news for what's going on for the fall.
Yeah.
And I noticed both of you have turned in your final draft. Thank you very much.
Yes, I wanted to discuss about that too. So this evening we can discuss about all that.
You got it. You got it. I'm going to put something up here. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, leading a healthy life.
Yes, indeed. So I'm going to let you guys see this. Let me see. Well, it's still early. You don't even have to look at it yet. Don't worry. I'm so excited. I want to get started, but we still have 10 minutes. So I'm going to just take it. Matter of fact, I'm going to quickly, I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a little coffee.
Okay.
Take your time.
Menuveve and Zara.
Yeah.
In
yes,
the chat room. Hi, guys. In the chat room, I've put in a little question. So maybe you guys can just talk about that for a minute. What is a controversy? What does that word mean? Controversy.
I think it is a subject that will bring a debate. People will be on one side and other people will be on the other side, like pros and cons. A subject that will bring a debate.
What do you think, Zara?
Actually, this is a new word for me. I didn't know what does it mean.
Well, Menuveve has given us what I actually think is a great definition of controversy. Certainly is when there's people on one side versus another. Here in the United States, for example, I came back with my coffee, and I saw that you guys were talking, about the health precautions you're taking. And one of the things to me, it's a little crazy, but people are debating whether it's good to use masks or not here in our current health situation. Because some people are saying, of course, the science and the health professionals are saying we need to, use masks to stop the spread of the disease. But there are people on the other side of that issue. And those people are saying it's an individual choice. No one can make you wear a mask. And they choose not to. So that, in a sense, that's a controversy. And maybe the controversy that, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to ask, is it like debatable or debate, something like this?
That's a great word for it. Yeah, debate. And maybe we could even say something that is debatable.
For example, in my country, they started easing restriction, and they made the wearing the mask mandatory for everyone.
It
So
is
you
mandatory?
Yeah.
What about here in Georgia? Do you know?
Here in Georgia, I don't think it is mandatory because people are doing what they want.
Yeah.
But in my country, since the start easing restriction, they make it mandatory for everyone. You cannot, if you go out without your mask or you are in public space, the police will arrest you.
Where, in Togo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been listening to different things about Georgia State University because in the fall, people are going to be coming back to campus. So people, we're going to do some online classes, but we're also going to have regular classes again, or blended classes where we have some classes online and some classes in the classroom. And they're talking about the use of masks. So at Georgia State University, they're saying the only place they're requiring a mask is in elevators. That's it.
The elevator?
Yeah, the masks are required in an elevator.
And
so
what
example,
about the classroom?
No, they said that, for example, for me as a teacher, I can ask my students to please wear masks, but I can't say if you don't wear a mask, you have to leave. Because the belief here, or the one belief here, is that people get to make that choice themselves, which makes me a little sad.
Sometimes you have to make people do, because it's not always they do the right thing.
Exactly. I agree with you completely. Sometimes things have to be mandatory. And what's interesting, hi Ming, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
It's good to see you. Well, actually, I'm not seeing you yet, but it's good to have you here.
Good to see you too.
And I think Christelle might be here. Did Christelle make it?
Yes.
Doris. Hi, Christelle.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Doris. Hi, Miriam.
Good morning.
Hey, can I ask you guys, I'm not seeing anybody's video. Are you guys off of the video, or did I shut it off? How did this work? Everyone is, I'm just seeing a blank screen.
No, not everyone.
I didn't stop my video.
Yeah, I didn't stop my video too.
Oh, that's so weird, because I wonder if I did something here. I'm gonna jump out and see. Yeah, everything is. I'm not seeing anybody. It's so weird. Did I do something weird? Can you see each other?
Yes.
So I must have done something crazy on my end because I can't see anybody. I see me. So it's me, me on this black screen here. It's kind of surreal. But as long as you guys can see each other, I think that's what matters. All right. Good morning, Doris. Hello, Doris. We got Amenuveve, Christelle, Mariam. Ju, good morning.
Good morning.
And we've got Doris, and we've got Zara, and we've got me. Okay. All right. We were just talking about controversies. And one of the things we're talking about here in Georgia, but also probably everywhere in the world, is the question of whether the government can require that you wear a mask when you're in public. Because that's in some ways, I would think it shouldn't be a controversy. But here in Georgia, it is a controversy. There are some people that say the government cannot require that you wear a mask. And some people say for the public good, for public health, you need to have that. Hi, Nate. Good morning.
Morning.
Let me see here. Bradley's here. Good morning, Bradley.
Hi, morning.
Good. It's good to hear you. I was explaining to everyone else, I actually can't see anybody, but you guys can see each other, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. All right. So, so we were talking a little bit about controversies and about how there's always, there are two sides, and Amenuveve earlier this morning was mentioning that typically there are pros and cons. You have people on one side, people on the other side, and then you have to be able to articulate what the arguments are in favor of each side. And we'll talk about that a little more later. Did everyone have a good weekend?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Amenuveve. How about the rest of you? Were you guys okay this weekend?
Yes, it's a good weekend.
Oh, good, Mariam. I'm glad.
Busy and productive.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I got a lot of final drafts, so I haven't read them yet. Everyone, you should be able to see the grade and the comments for your timed writing. And you should be able to go into that Turnitin link or whatever, and you can see the actual comments. So let me know if you have any questions. They were very good. I was actually, people here, they always know if my students have done a good job writing because I'm all smiles here at my house. So thank you. Thank you very much. Because in this hard time, it's always great to see some good writing. All right, I'm gonna share a screen with you all. Let's see. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at a couple of things about Unit 16, and the title of it is called Leading a Healthy Life. And Amenuveve, Zara, and I were talking a little bit about health, because I think that's on all of our minds lately. So I'm going to ask you guys. Did I ask you to read a short essay for this class?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Let me see if I can get this to work. There we go. So I just want you to take a minute and look at these questions and take some notes. If you have a piece of paper, or you can do it on your computer if you'd like. But I want you to take some notes about how you would respond to each one of these questions. What's the main reason, according to this essay, that people are prevented from leading a healthy life? And what are some of the beliefs, according to this essay, that people have when it comes to healthy eating and exercising? And then last, and most important, I want you to look deep inside yourself. Do you think this writer would think you have a healthy lifestyle? Why or why not? So take a couple of minutes, make a few notes, and I'm going to ask some people to give us some ideas, okay? And I'm going to vanish for a minute while you guys just take a few notes. And just so you know, I've popped a little something into the chat room. Christelle has volunteered. In a minute or two, she's going to give us an answer to question number 1. Ming has volunteered to give us an answer for question 2. And then Bradley, Ann, and Miriam are going to respond to that last question about their own lifestyles and this author. How you feeling? You feeling good? You feel like you've got some answers here, folks? Christelle, are you able to answer that first question? According to this author, what's the main reason that people are prevented? Nice use of the passive voice, by the way.
Yes. For the author, the main reason that prevent people to live a healthy life is the lack of time.
Exactly, the lack of time. And Ming, what about that second question? What are some things that people believe about healthy eating and exercising that some people, for some beliefs of some people, that prevent them, that that sort of block them. Any ideas, Ming?
Just as with eating habits, is a common belief that exercise and taking away many hours of an average person's work week.
Exactly. Yeah, that's perfectly right. That all of this, it takes a lot of time, right? And that, they may have even used the word time consuming. I'm not sure, but I think they might. So just, and I want to just mention here that the busy work schedules are one of the reasons why people may be prevented from leading a healthy life. And we could add to that, not just busy work schedules, but busy academic schedules for students. And also those tasks of healthy eating and exercising are very time consuming. And maybe right now it's not quite the same, because I don't know about the rest of you. I don't go to restaurants very much. But in normal times, sometimes it's much easier just to go grab some junk food, some bad food, rather than spend the time to cook. And now I think we have Bradley. What about your lifestyle? Is it healthy according to this author?
No, right now, because all the gym are closed right now, right? So
Yeah, exactly. So
so
right
we
now, but
we
what
stay
about,
at home and
go ahead, Bradley, I'm sorry.
and we all stay at home and no space to exercise. So I think no healthy right now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And who else was there? Anne. Good morning, Anne.
Hi, morning.
Hello. Tell me, do you think this author would say you have a healthy lifestyle?
Oh no, I think this article, what the article said, it's not it doesn't seems like my lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would say no.
No, for now I don't have a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, this is hard. This is a hard time for all of us. And Mariam, what about you? Healthy lifestyle?
Okay, I'm feeling that I would be not bragging, but I was pretty happy that I have a good lifestyle right now with a lot of problems and that all of us are facing. So the thing that I was working hard while reading the article, I feel, okay, I'm doing a pretty good job.
That's good. That's wonderful. Well, you know, it's interesting because there's a phrase we sometimes use in English. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And sometimes, you know, the fact that things have in a way really slowed down can allow us to start exploring other ways to be healthy.
Yes.
You know, so that's a positive way to look at it.
I feel flexibility and accepting every situation for me is one of the good. I grew up in a third world country. So I think I survived very hard times. So yeah, I grew up how to learn to do finding some kind of ways to deal with the problems of life.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent. I think that's a very positive attitude to have, which is great. So guys, I want to just point something out to you. Thank you all for sharing those ideas. I like the information that you shared. And I do think that there may be ways that we can all figure out ways to be healthy, even within the restrictions that we're facing right now. It's not always easy, but I think we can, I hope. But I want to just take a look at part of this essay. I really like this essay. And notice this paragraph. Contrary to what many people think, living a healthy life does not have to be difficult, nor does it have to be time consuming. First, oh no, in terms of eating habits, a few changes can go a long way. First, individuals need to be committed to the challenge. Next, in order to have a healthier diet, they should buy low-calorie and low-fat foods that are easy to cook, such as broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, chicken, and fish. Now, the chicken and fish could be hard if you're a vegetarian, but then they can cook more quantities of food over the weekend and freeze the leftovers in small containers so that the food can be consumed throughout the week. It's been argued that freezing the food destroys some of the nutrients. Uh-oh. This may be true. So this is at the bottom of, I think, the first page of this essay. But I want you to just take a look at this section of it and tell me, what are the words that show you the steps that are being taken to move towards a healthier lifestyle? So this is like a language question. What words do you see that sort of put the steps in order?
First.
First.
First is a good one. What else?
Next.
Next. And what else?
Then.
And then. Ah, very nice. So notice, if you were going to take notes from this, I would say you would just do three, you give the topic and then you just have 1, 2, 3, and those are the things that you would put in, right?
Yes.
But now let's take a look at what's this. It has been argued that freezing the food destroys some of the nutrients. Is that something that's in favor of this whole plan that the writer has? Does that help his argument?
No, it's in contrary. In opposite.
Yeah, exactly. It's in contrast to it. It goes against the argument, right? Because if you're going to destroy the nutrients, that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I want to take a look at that in a little more detail. We have this. It's been argued that freezing the food destroys some of the nutrients. This may be true. So we present something that goes against what I'm saying we should do. And then I acknowledge, you know what? That's a good point. And then we say, however, this solution is better, certainly better than the fast food option. Then I have a transition word that shows that I'm going to move away from supporting that other argument and going back to my argument. And that is that the solution is certainly better than the fast food option. So yes, we're going to lose some nutrients. That's not great. But if the choice is that or McDonald's, which is better, right?
Yes.
Sorry about that phone, guys. And so I want to give you some terminology for what's going on here. And this is something we're going to be looking at over the next few weeks. When you're presenting your argument, especially when you're dealing with a controversy or anything where there's more than one position, you must address the opposing argument. And Beatrice, you know all about this, right?
Yes.
So, because lawyers do this, they have to do this. So you have to present the opposing argument, and you can't just pretend it's not there, or you can't just lie about it. You have to say what it really is. And then you have to analyze its validity. Is it something that is true? Is it something that's false? Maybe someone's making a claim that's false. And so you have to identify that and explain why that is. And then you use that transition word to show your reader, okay, I'm moving from this, I'm moving away from this argument that actually goes against what I want to share with you. And then I'm going to explain how that is not as good as my argument. And so, and that's called, that's to refute an argument, R-E-F-U-T-E. And so the term I have up on the screen is refutation, but you refute the argument. How do you present the argument that stops that from ruining your whole point of your whole position. Okay? Does that make sense? Are there any questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
I tried this kind of writing and that I made a kind of topic in my mind and I tried to put it in the work, but it never come the way that give what I want to say. Like last semester in Miss Deborah classroom, I try with the 2 topics and then she told me it's confusing. I told her, I want to say this, but I can't make it in the writing that give you the exact meaning what I want to say. So yeah, when I'm reading this thing, I say, okay, wow, how beautifully it's written. But if I want to try to make this kind of argument, then it's not coming to clearer to give you the what I want to say, like the opposite to like arguments. So
well, you raise a really good point, Mariam. And this is one of the things that we're going to be looking at because one of the things, and again, remember I talked about this earlier, there's some language, those fixed phrases that you can use and you don't have to worry, you don't have to try and be creative about the fixed phrases, but instead you want to just sort of drop things in. So for example, when we look at what's up on the screen here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 5 words, it has been argued that. You can just, you have that and then you just have a little space where you're going to put in the thing that goes against what you're proposing. So for example, earlier today, we were talking about using masks in public. So it has been argued that using masks in public is a restriction on personal freedom. So that way you can say, I'm presenting this, but that it has been argued that tells your reader, I don't really think this is the right thing, but I'm going to share this information with you. And then you can use a phrase like, this may be true. You could also say, this is not supported by the facts, you know, depending on what the argument is. Because sometimes people will present false arguments or they'll present arguments that aren't relevant to what's really being discussed. So you can use those phrases. You can, it has been argued that, and then whatever Mariam does not like, and then you identify, well, this may be true. And then you have to say, however, or nevertheless, or nonetheless, or despite this argument, or something like that. So different phrases, and you don't have to, those things, you'll have them in your set of words that you can use. And then you describe how your position is stronger than the other one. And we're going to look at this in more detail. But I agree with you. It's a real challenge to write this effectively. And we're going to practice with this because it's very important as academic thinkers and academic writers. Because one of the great failures in academic writing is to ignore the positions or the ideas that you don't like, just because you don't like them. And you can't really do that. You have to acknowledge them, but using language, you show how that thing works. Okay?
thank you.
So thank you, Mariam, because that's true for all of us, and we'll work on that. Any other questions before I move on to my favorite topic in the world?
Grammar.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So do you mean if I have the opposite opinion, when I want to write, I have to start with what people think, and then I said my opinion?
That's an excellent point. Now, so Zara, if I understand correctly, is asking, is this what I have to start with? And in this little part of the section that we see on our screen, I do start with the opposing argument. I analyze it. I transition to my refutation of that argument. But notice, let me just jump back to the page before that. Notice that all of this, it's only at the bottom of this paragraph. So I've given you all of my ideas. We need to be committed to the challenge. You need to buy low-calorie, low-fat foods. You need to cook them and freeze them. After that, I've added this part. So it doesn't necessarily have to be at the beginning of what your entire writing, but it does have, typically it's stronger to start with, in that small section, like what we're looking at here, we start with the opposing argument, and then you end with your explanation of why that opposing argument is not good. Because if you just start with your argument, but then you end with the opposing argument, typically the way people read in the US, that gives more strength to the opposing argument because you've sort of left it as the final word. And we have a phrase in English, who gets the last word in an argument? Because typically the last word are the things that people will remember. So in this case, you're going to remember that, well, freezing food is better than fast food. But if you moved it and said, if you just ended with saying freezing food destroys some of the nutrients, that's what people will walk away with. They'll say, you know what, it's not a good idea because I'm going to lose my nutrients. Does that make sense, Zara?
Actually, I think I need to read samples to understand more.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we're going to be doing, and in the second half of this semester here, we're going to be looking at persuasive arguments to some degree. And that's what these are all about. So I will show you a lot of examples of this. Okay?
Yeah, so another question came up.
Yeah.
Can I write what I think, but in both ways? I mean, I agree with this because this, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I don't agree. So can I?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, what you can do is, and this is something that it's more of a, I would say, call it a neutral analysis, because you can look at things as you want to be able to persuade somebody, and that's called persuasive writing. But you also want to be able to do analytical writing, and that's where you just analyze both sides of an issue. Now, typically, what you would do is when you're analyzing the topic, you will go through the arguments on this side and the arguments on that side. Usually you don't actually put your own opinion in on that. You know, you're not going to say, well, I like this part of this one, I like this part of this. What you would say is the experts on this side say this, this, and this. The experts on the other side say this, this, and this. You know, and then you may at the very end, you may, you know, you analyze those arguments. But unless you're writing a persuasive essay, you're not really going to include your opinion of it. Your persuasive essay, you're going to have to choose. And it's interesting, and I'm glad you brought this up, Zara, because you can say, I'm going to choose only this side. I'm going to choose only this side. Or I may do a synthesis, and I'm going to be somewhere in the middle. Like, these ideas are important, these ideas are important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but those things can work. But you want to, if the analytical part of it, you want to avoid an opinion. But we'll look more at that. We'll look at examples and everything, okay?
Yeah.
How about if I move to that topic? It's not just my favorite topic, it's your favorite topic. We all love grammar, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, grammar. Okay, we're going to take a look at the grammar topic from this unit, and it's called IT constructions. What does that mean? Any ideas?
Maybe grammar about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's grammar about the word it. And it's typically going to be about it being used in the subject role of the sentence. And it's, well, let's take a look at some of these.
Pronoun.
Yeah, it's a pronoun, although what's interesting is the way it's used here is a little bit different. So let's take a look at that.
Okay.
So we're going to take these. So it constructions are commonly used to make the text more impersonal and appear at least more objective. If you're talking about problems and solutions, you often use it when you're proposing a solution and evaluating that solution. It is important to find an exercise that's enjoyable, such as playing a sport or hiking. So notice that bold section is the it construction. It is important too. It has been argued that freezing the food destroys some of the nutrients. So it has been argued that is another it construction. So you can see that it is at the beginning. These are very common constructions in academic writing. So I want you guys to become experts at using this. So we can form them in a couple of different ways. First is we use the word it, and then the verb to be, and an adjective, and then that followed by a new subject and verb. It is true, so true is the adjective, that, and here's the new sentence. People who exercise usually have more energy than people who do not. So notice
Can I
that.
say something?
I'm sorry, yes?
I'm sorry, but for me, the screen didn't change. I'm not sure, is it from my internet or you didn't change the slide?
Are you not seeing, it should say 2.1?
Yes.
No, for me, I only see grammar, it's constructions.
Uh-oh. Is it changing for everybody else?
Yes.
For me, changes. I see the 2.1 it constructions.
Oh, maybe because
Zara,
my internet.
yeah, maybe you need to refresh or something. And you know, these internet things are so weird because, like I told you, even though you're all here, I'm only seeing blank screens for everybody except for me. So I think I did something. You know, sometimes they have different settings. I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry for
But
interrupting you.
No, that's okay. I also do want to just point something out to all of you that in iCollege, I have the actual PowerPoint, and I have the PowerPoint as a PDF file. And I also, in the video for this class, it will also show these. The other thing, Zara, just so you know, all of this is in the book in Unit 16. So if you have your book, you can open that up and see it.
Yeah, okay.
So if you find that 2.1 it constructions, it will show that. Now, another construction can be it plus the verb to be plus an adjective plus what we call the infinitive. It is difficult to find time to exercise every day. So here we're having difficult as the adjective, but then instead of using that and a new subject and verb, we just say to and the verb. Now, for that second part of it, that it is not the subject for the verb find. If you want to make a specific subject using the infinitive, you can add the phrase for plus the noun right before that. So it is difficult for many children to find time to exercise every day. So, and that's where these it constructions are a little strange. But once you master these constructions, you can use these for anything. It is fun to listen to John talk about grammar. It is incredibly wonderful that John talks about grammar so much. In addition to the verb be, we also can use the verb appear or seem. It appears that, or it seems that. It appears that researchers have made the connection between exercise and mental health. It seems that people who eat healthier are frequently in a good mood. Now notice here, we don't have an adjective and we don't have the verb to be. So you can't, I mean, this is not replacing what's in the first type of construction. This is instead of the adjective. And appears and seems is a way for you to share that it's not 100% certain. You can, however, add an adjective to it. It appears unlikely that the government will issue new guidelines. And it's, yeah, this is when you are almost certain, but not completely certain that the statement is true or that, you know, that you have full confidence in the statement.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes?
Do I have to use that? So, I mean, can I say, it seems like people who eat instead of that?
Seems like people who, you could do that. Yeah, I'd say that's a little less formal, but you can do it. But you can't say it appears like. But you could say it seems like. That's a great point, Zara. So seems like is okay. But I would say it's a little bit informal.
Okay.
So when using seem, it should be used that.
Well, yeah, but as Zara was pointing out, you can say it seems like, but I would say, and this is more of a subjective feeling, it's a little less formal than it seems that. But it still works. It's not ungrammatical. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. I'm glad you noticed that. Okay, you can also use those constructions with modals like may, might, could, and using those, any of those three modals can soften the claim. It may be true that people who eat healthier are always in a good mood. It might seem that people are not losing weight when they start a new diet program. Might seem, yeah. It could be that genetics play the main role in obesity. Now notice here, you as a writer have inserted a level of uncertainty into the claim. You can use it constructions in the passive voice, our favorite voice, the passive voice, with some reporting verbs. And this allows the writer, you, to emphasize the idea without having to restate who said it. It has generally been accepted that people who exercise frequently have more energy. It was found that certain fruits and vegetables can help with weight loss. These things are useful, although you still want to be careful that if you're taking information from a source, you want to give a citation at the end of this with the author's last name and the year. Because you still want to be able to prove to your reader that this information is not just made up from your head. We also use, especially in problem solution writing, certain adjectives with it constructions. Things like accepted, certain, clear, evident, important, indisputable, and obvious. It's clear that exercising is good for children. From the results of the study, it's obvious that children are healthier if they watch only 1 hour of TV. Oops, wait, I want to just point something out here. With this, you do want to, it's important to know that you are inserting a little bit of your opinion into these kinds of sentences. Because you're saying, for me, as a critical thinker, I believe this statement is obvious, or I believe that it's clear, or I believe that it's important. So you want to make sure that you use these when you want to emphasize to your reader, whether it's a professor or someone else, that you're making an analysis here, okay? You can also use certain adjectives to show your feeling about the strength of the claim. If you think it's certain, you can say accepted, certain, indisputable, true. It is true that children are heavier, but the causes are not clear. So the fact that they're heavy, it's true. I'm not disputing that. If you think it's possible, then you can use likely or possible. It's likely that genes also play a big role in health. If you don't think it's likely, you can use unlikely or unusual. It appears unlikely that cell phone use will decrease. Yeah, there's too many cell phones. And to show something's not possible, oh, this is easy. You can say impossible. It's impossible to address health without including exercise. You can also use some adjectives to show the degree of difficulty, like difficult, easy, hard. It's difficult to imagine restaurants eliminating desserts. Please don't eliminate. And you can also use, and this is connected to the previous slide, you can show your own perspective. It seems curious that fruits and vegetables are not emphasized. And so you're putting in your own view that this is a strange thing that's happening, or something's obvious. It's evident that people's lifestyles contribute to their stress.
I have one question, sorry.
No, that's good. I like your questions.
I ask a question. Does this means like when I say it seems curious, does this show my opinion?
Yes.
What about it's evident? Is it my opinion?
That's also what you're saying there is you have reviewed this information and you think it's evident means I feel very strongly that this is the case.
I can't hear anything. Hello.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry, Zara.
Can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me? Can anyone else hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Zara, I think you might have there might be a technical issue. Zara? Oh boy.
Professor John, is Doris. I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes, sir.
So I don't understand when we should use it with the verb to be, we shouldn't.
Well, I'm actually, let me show you this next slide
Okay.
because this is a great question that you've asked, Doris, and I'm glad your audio is working. Welcome.
But my camera is working now. I don't know what is going on.
All right. So Doris is asking, when do we use this? And that is a very important question. Typically, you can use it instead of a statement that directly attributes the idea to someone. So you could say doctors and health officials agree that people should exercise at least 3 times a week. That's one way to state it. Or you can just say it is important to exercise at least 3 times a week. And that might be in the case where you say, you know what, I don't need to restate about doctors and health officials because based on what I'm writing here, people know that if I say it's important, that refers back to them. So you don't have to, it helps avoid too much repetition of something. And it's also, it can be a more formal, and some people would say an impersonal way to present ideas. You could say, she argued that exercising is very time consuming, and you're identifying who did that. But you could just say, it has been argued that exercising is very time consuming. So one of the things, and to address Doris's question, as you are writing, especially in an academic environment where you have to write a lot, you want to be able to have different strategies to express ideas. So the it construction is a way to sort of add a little emphasis to something, but you can also make it so that you don't have to keep restating, doctors say this, doctors say that. And it also allows you to insert in a very appropriate way a little bit of your analysis. Remember when we said, you know, it's clear that, or it is likely, you're actually analyzing this as you're describing. So, and that's the end of our section on the it constructions. I want to talk about, for just a minute, I'm going to ask you as your homework to try and complete all the exercises that are there for that. But I also want to move to these words that we were looking at earlier in the indicating steps of a solution. But before I do, are there any other questions about the it constructions?
Yes, me again. So,
Yes.
like, for example, doctors and health officials agree that we can change the doctors and health for the it word, right? And then so instead to say like them agree that?
No. Notice that there's the statement and right underneath it is the it construction. So that bold section, doctors and health officials agree that, you're taking all of that out. And then you just say, it is important to exercise. So, because notice what they're saying the idea is people should exercise 3 times a week. You as a writer get to choose, do I want to attribute that or describe who says that, or do I just want to make it more general and say it's important? It's important to exercise 3 times a week, or doctors and health officials agree that it's important to exercise, or agree that people should exercise 3 times a week. So it is a slightly different meaning.
Yes.
So you as a writer, you have to choose, do I really want to state here that I'm making clear that it's doctors and health officials, which could be the choice that you want to make. Or you could say, I think that's already obvious from the context of my writing, And I can just say, it is important, because then it shows that I've identified that that they are saying this. Does that make sense, Doris?
Yes, yes, I get it.
But the things that are in bold, those are structures that you can use. Sort of those fixed phrases.
Repetition phrase, okay.
Okay, now I want to take a look at a little different language, and I'm going to put you to work. We have, as you guys saw, those are transition words and phrases, and this is also in your book, that help us see what the steps of a solution is. First, it's important for people to find an activity that's enjoyable, such as playing a sport or hiking. Next, they need to commit to doing it. They need to commit to doing it. Notice, you can't commit to it until you've chosen it, right? You have to choose it first and then commit to it, right? So it's giving you the ordering. To start it, you want to use first, and typically you're going to say first, a comma, or to begin, comma. So first, one needs to acknowledge that a problem exists. Guys, I eat too much pizza. I acknowledge it. It's a problem. Too much pizza. Just had pizza for breakfast. No, I'm kidding. But so first and a comma. And then once you've identified that first step, then you got to move into other options. Now notice that there are different ones that you can use. After that, following that, next, second, third, subsequently, and then. All of those things can be used. You can also use the phrase at the same time, or I didn't put it in here, but there's also a word called simultaneously. That one works too, if you want to show that they're happening together at the same time. So following that, yes?
When I have a different idea, I only have to say at the same, I mean, I don't know how to say this question. Does at the same time work in the different idea? Or can I use it when I have the same ideas?
Well, it should be a connected idea. Because remember, what we're talking about is sort of like a process. So the solutions, if you look at the top, it's called a solution, but also a process. So it's kind of like, let's say you're going to cook something, or you're going to prepare a meal. And you have two things that have to happen at the same time. So I have to take my ingredients out. At the same time, I have to turn on the oven, right? So those are things, but they're all connected to this process of creating the meal. So, do you see what I mean? So they have to be connected.
Yeah, I got it.
But you also need to, part of your skill as a writer is you're showing your reader, this comes first, then this comes next, then this comes next. Now you may have one of these where you say, this comes next. At the same time, we're going to do this. And then we go on to the next one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
It was a good question. And then when you want to sort of wrap up the process, you use finally, in the end, last, and lastly. So finally, the set of strategies should be implemented. And you can also use transition words such as next or then in the middle of a sentence. So the scope and effects of the problem then need to be identified. You can also put it at the beginning, then, comma, the scope need to be identified. And you can put next at the end of a sentence. So if I'm talking about the last or the next step on something, I can say, first we turn on the oven, you put the ingredients on the pizza next. So you can put that next at the end. But it doesn't work for them. Now, you can also use some phrases instead of just these transition words. So the first step is to, and then you give the verb. The second step is to, and all of these things. And it's usually going to be followed by the verb to be and then an infinitive. So here, the first step is to acknowledge that a problem exists. And so, just as we saw in our earlier example, this is a way for someone who's reading what you're writing to understand exactly how you are envisioning this process. So first, then, next, following, final. Okay? Ah, isn't it nice? Now it's your turn. I'm going to see if this is going to work. Let me see if I can make this work. Let me see if I can do this. I want to just... Guys, I haven't tried this before, so let me see. I'm going to ask you to listen to part of a lecture. Let me know, and you can send me something in the chat room if you cannot hear this, because I want you to hear this, and I want you to complete the 3 final steps to this problem. And actually, as I was looking at this, this is actually probably a problem for all of us, because I think we're all spending too much time in front of a computer. Do you agree? So much time. All right, so let me see if this will work.
Unit 16.
Can you hear that?
Exercise 3.1. A. Transition words to indicate steps of a solution.
So you're going to hear this. I want you to identify what these steps are. And the first step is to identify the health issues. Then there's something that's related to determining, implementing, and evaluating. So take a listen. Were you able to hear that beginning part?
Yes.
Here we go.
Many businesses rely on workers who do all their work in front of a computer. For example, data entry workers sit at a computer for hours every day. This habit leads to many health problems, including weight gain, back pain, neck pain, and wrist pain, among others. Here are a series of steps that companies can follow to address these health issues. The first step is to identify the health issues of employees. One way to do this is through an online survey, which employees can complete anonymously if they prefer. This will give you a comprehensive list of ailments and employees' feelings about their health and the impact of their ailments on their work. Next, it's necessary to determine which strategies will address them. For example, if the problem is with weight gain, a possible strategy would be to have an on-site weight loss program and to offer discounts to health clubs in the area. If the problem is with back pain, offer workshops by certified trainers or physical therapists on ways to keep the back strong and flexible. Following that, implement the strategies. Invite workers to offer other suggestions. Finally, evaluate the effectiveness of the solutions after 6 months. The management should ask employees, did the strategies really work? If not, what else could be done? If companies followed these steps, they should have healthier and happier employees.
So, nice. I'm seeing some nice answers here. Well, let's take a look at this.
Unit 16.
Okay, there we go. We're not going to hear it again. Remember, too, all the audio files are in iCollege. I think they're also online somewhere through the book, but you can download them or listen to them directly in iCollege, okay? So, before we do anything else, I just want to, this is the actual transcript of what we just heard. And I just want to point out the words that I hope you noticed. The first step. That was the clue for you that this is, they're going to start the list. Essentially the recipe, if we want to talk about cooking, because I love food. But so the first thing is the first step. Then there's next. Then we have a phrase, I don't know if I actually mentioned this to you before, following that. But that's another way to show that it's the next step. And then this last one is the easiest, final. So finally, oh, thank you, Zara, you got it. All right, so now I want you to compare your answers to what I have here. Oh, Anne had a very nice answer. Next, it's necessary to determine which strategies will address it. For number 3, following that, implement design. Zara, nice. And then the last one, final. Okay? So, and the reason why I want you to look at these and to notice them is that when you are describing a process, whether it's a solution or anything else, I want you to try to make sure that you're giving your readers a clear way to understand. Now, one thing that people do more so now than before, I would say, people just create a bulleted list or a numbered list. 1, do this, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's good, but we also want to be able to write it in the what we call the prose, in your regular writing. And it's important to practice that. I think I've got one more thing that I want you, oh no, I know what I want you to do. I'm going to have you guys do some talking. I am going to put you into a pair, and I want you to discuss one of these problems below. So you can choose, and you can use the thing that you just heard here as a model if you want. But here's what I want you to do, is I want you to think about one of these problems, choose one, come up with a solution and the steps to the solution, okay? We have 3 options: smokers who want to give up smoking, students who don't study enough, or, like me, people who worry too much. Okay, let me see what I can do here. I'm going to try and put you guys into some groups. All right. So, amenuveve. Oh, right. Did I do this? Amenuveve and uh-oh, did I lose Doris? Hold on a second, guys. My computer acted a little weird. Beatrice and Mary. Bradley and Chu. Bradley and Zara. And last but not least, Christelle and Chu. I'm going to send you to those rooms. If you have any questions, let me know. Choose one person. Zara? Nathan,
Hi, teacher.
are you doing okay? I know you've been coming in and out. Are you having computer issues?
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of that. I think we lost somebody else. Oh, Zara, we just lost, I think.
Oh.
Man, it's weird. I think there've been a lot of connection issues or something.
Yeah.
Nathan, can you see my screen?
Yes, of course.
Can you choose one of those three things? Tell me, what's a solution? Like, what about people who worry too much? What would you say is the solution? What's a solution?
For people who worry too much,
People who worry too much.
They should try not to think too much.
Okay.
Try to relax. Try to relax.
Yeah.
Take a break, like.
So let's take one of those solutions, and how can you make it? Give me some. So, for example, you said I should relax, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what should I do first?
To relax. I mean, you can do an activity.
Okay, so maybe first you should start exercising more or something, or first you should find a hobby.
Yes. First, you should find a habit.
And then what's next?
Next, and you should, I mean, commit to it.
Good. So find a hobby. First, find a hobby. Next, commit to that hobby.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I like to do? I play the bass guitar.
Really?
So maybe that's a good hobby for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the third step?
The third
Finally.
step.
Because first,
finally,
find a hobby. Second, commit to it. Finally, what?
Enjoy it. No.
Okay, good. Yeah, and maybe you could even say, finally, when you're doing it, make sure you're breathing and you're enjoying the process. Because you know, it's interesting. Sometimes I find I get a hobby and then I'll make it like it's work, you know? And then it's no fun anymore.
Oh, no.
So that's not going to help. So Nathan, maybe do me a favor. Just write up a quick paragraph and pop it into the chat room about that. Trying to use those transition words, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry you weren't able to work with somebody today. I think we lost Doris, I think. Now we've lost Zara.
Technology has its problem.
Yeah, I think it can be, I think it's a problem. We've been having issues. And it's so weird. I don't know why my guys, I'm not seeing anyone's video. I think I must have done something. All right, Zara, are you back?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I was afraid I'd lost you there.
Because I don't know why the voice just cut off. It's not only today. It's happened many times. So I need to leave the meeting and come back.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry, because that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Now, who's writing for you? Is it you or Bradley?
Bradley.
Oh, that Bradley. He's a good guy, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if he's actually...
I have a question. When we want to use transition at the end, can we say eventually?
Oh, that's nice. That's... What do you think if you use that? What are you trying to say?
I think it's like finally.
But it's a little different. Do you know how it's different?
I don't know, maybe when we say story, we have to use eventually. I'm
Oh,
not
I
sure.
really like that you brought that up, because eventually is a word that it means it will happen at the end, but it's going to take a long time. So if you just say
Excuse-
finally, there's sort of like 1, 2, 3, but eventually it's 1, 2, and a long time, 3.
Oh,
And that, so eventually it's not the same as finally, but it means this will be the end result, but it will take a long time.
oh,
So that's a really great word to have is part of your vocabulary.
yeah, because I noticed this word in the reading. I mean, in the articles sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and what they're trying to say is they're saying that it's going to be, it will happen, but it will take time. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like with the quarantine, you know, when they say you can go home, but because of the quarantine, eventually you get to see your family, but you have to wait a long time. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, hi, Amenuveve.
Hi.
Hi. So let me see. Amenuveve, are you going to post are you going to post the paragraph, or is Ming posting the paragraph?
I don't know. We can.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi.
Hi, Beatrice.
Hello.
Beatrice and Miriam, who's going to post their beautiful paragraph?
Beatrice.
All right. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Ming. I see yours is up there.
How we, oh, in the chat?
In the chat room.
Okay.
You should be able to copy and paste if you have it already somewhere.
Oh, no, I wrote it here.
Okay.
The old school girls.
Can I ask you, on the screen, do you guys see something I have there with your paragraphs?
Yes.
Good.
A word thing.
Oh, Ming, Amenuveve, that is great. I love it. Beautiful. And I'm going to have to add one more here by the name of Nate. Nate is going to do one here of his as well. Nate said, I don't want to be left out. I want to be able to do mine. Now, hopefully Doris will come back. I know she was having some technology problems, unfortunately. Menuveve and Ming, I highlighted a couple of things. Can you see that in my...
Yes.
The reason why those are highlighted is because when you're writing something like this, and don't worry about it now because it's your first draft, but when you're writing it, you want to make sure you choose sort of one specific perspective as a writer. So notice you can say, and maybe, you know, your original thing is, people who want to quit smoking need to follow certain steps, right? Then you can, but notice you say they for the first part. For the second part, you just have the command, gradually reduce the number of cigarettes. And then in the last one, you use you, as in I'm talking to you. So those are all kind of different. So what you would want to do when you revise this is choose one of those. So it would be they can slow down thoughts of smoking. Second, they can reduce the number of cigarettes. Finally, when they want to smoke, they can do it. You see what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what it's kind of like a parallel construction. Let's see here. Ming has got hers up. Has anyone else posted yet?
Not yet. I'm still writing.
Okay, no rush. Don't want to rush. Little.
I will take time and ask one question.
Yes.
When you give topic, always like for me, the problem that I have problem with starting. Once I start, then I can like move forward. But like starting took me like days maybe for writing something in the beginning. What is the easiest strategy to just begin writing? Because when you give a topic, there's 1,000 kind of ways that you can say about this side, this angle, this issue, that issue, and you know,
yeah. Well, one thing that I find is useful is take the prompt or the question and put that as your first sentence, but restating it instead of as a question, sort of answer the question. So for example, let me see if I can jump over to our, get this done. So this, let's say you just choose students who don't study enough, right? And notice that, and you say, okay, I need to write the problem, the solution, and possible steps. So you can say, for the problem of students who don't study enough, one solution is to remove distractions. So you want to just sort of restate the question as a statement and then add that idea. And then you have to think, okay, to remove the distractions, what does that mean? And come up, and I would even write down numbers in brainstorming. I go 1, 2, 3. First thing is turn off my phone. Second thing is close the door. Third thing is create a schedule or something. You know what I mean? And then once you have those ideas, then you work on how do you write that up and how do you use the language to make it effective. But you have to really be clear. What am I trying to say before you start to write? You want to have the ideas. Like, for example, what topic did you guys choose, Marion?
People who worry too much.
Okay, so you want to have people who worry too much, and then you want to come up with what's the solution. Maybe it's meditate. I don't know. What was your solution?
Me and Bear write some stuff together.
One of the solutions was is to find the situations that trigger the stress and set boundaries in relationships, like
I like it.
Not to involve themselves in so many activities. Another is learn how to say no.
Yes. Wow, that's a good one.
Yes. And finally, it's recommended to get involved in relaxing activities to keep themselves away from the stress and worry.
Beautiful. Well, because the idea too is that as you're coming up with those ideas, and I didn't give you guys a lot of time, so this is not easy, but you come up with the ideas and then you have the ideas before you start writing any sentences. You have those sort of bullet point ideas. And then you start writing once you've organized it. What?
Can I sit in the bed?
Hello there.
Sorry. I thought I was muted. Sorry.
It's okay. All right, so I'm gonna look. Let's take a look at what Nate has. I know the rest of you are still putting something up here. Ming did that one. She posted that. Beatrice is gonna post one. Anne or Mayamine, who's posting? Okay, let's find out. And Bradley and Zara. Bradley's posting, right?
Yes.
And Christelle or Chu, who's posting?
Writing. I'm writing.
Who is that?
It's Krista.
Oh, hello, Christelle.
Hello.
Okay, let's take a look at what Nate said. First, people should relax by finding an activity. I like that. Such as exercising. Next, they should commit to it. Make it a habit to help them relax. Finally, they should. Nate, these are very good. I just want to point out, Nathan, are you there? Did I lose Nate?
Yes.
Oh, good. I just want to point something out. I like that you were able to put this in. I know you were, remember for the first, you always want to add a comma after that. First, people should relax. And I think you don't need the comma there by finding such as, this is great that you put the, whenever you guys are going to use an example and such as, you have a comma and then such as. Next, they should, after modals, you never need the word to, so they should commit to it.
My man.
That's okay. And I'm going to say, and make it, because this word with the H, unlike a word like our, it's got a hard H sound. It would be to make it a habit to help them to relax. Finally, they should enjoy their activities. Beautiful, Nate. Short, simple, clear, boom.
I posted already.
Oh yeah, I see we got some here. I see that Anne has posted. Let's take a look at something like that. Let's see what Anne has. Oh, Anne, nice, nice. See, this is why I love reading what you guys write. You're some good writers. Okay, the problem. And I'm actually gonna, the problem is that people who worry too much don't have a healthy lifestyle, are always under stress and have bad relationships. Let's make that plural, with people around. One solution, that's weird. One solution is to set up a plan to release stress. Great. The first step, I love that, is to identify a person who can help you. Next, it's necessary to determine what and where the problem is coming from. Finally, it's important to implement your faith. And here, and I love this, but let's, instead of, because this is a comma splice, I'm going to use a semicolon, which is like a period, and then that means that you can start a new sentence. It could be a faith in yourself or something, someone else, such as God. That's beautiful. Now, I want to highlight just one little thing here for you. You can tell me, why am I highlighting? And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Why do you think I've highlighted the words don't, it's, and it's?
Oh, because we are not allowed to use that word.
Oh, hold on, Nathan. And what was it?
Is it not because it's a writing thing, so I have to write it is or do not?
Exactly. Yeah. So typically, and I think this is where Nathan was going to, the contractions are typically not a great idea when you're in academic writing. It's not the end of the world, to be honest, because people have become less formal, but it's there. You will find there are some professors who get all agitated about it. So just so you know, but everything else is great. It's very nice and clear. Let me see. I think Beatrice may have posted something. Is that true, Beatrice?
Yes, I did.
Mercy. Let's see what we got. Let's just see here. First, people who worry too much have the tendency to be stressed. Then, this word, notice because it's plural, Beatrice, we're going to say these worried people need to relax themselves and learn how to understand the trigger situations. Nice. And then, oh wait, I actually wanted these to be yellow. All right. Next, identify and set boundaries in relationships. Following that.
Oh.
Nice. Learn how to say no to demanding people. Oh, finally. Now here's something, remember here, because Beatrice, when you have those things this is where you need that it. It is recommended. So, because in English, we typically are not going to have that, unless it's a command, we don't have a verb without the noun.
And themselves is writing wrong. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's in a chat room. Don't worry. So it's recommended to involve themselves in relaxing activities to stay away from stress. Good. And I'm going to just mention this. I would say because stress can be sort of a common thing, we don't need that.
From stress. Okay.
One thing I would mention though, I like everything that you have except for this, because the process that you're actually doing is actually starting here.
Oh, okay.
I would actually, and notice what Anne did, which is very nice.
Oh. I
You have to sort of identify that's the problem. So one problem today is that, and then you have first, next, following that, final. Nice, nice. Oh man. Something tells me Bradley has posted. Oh yeah. But those are, Beatrice and Mariam, those are really nice. I like that a lot.
Can I say something before you start our topic?
Yes.
In Mariam and Beatrice's paragraph, can we say in the third line next, identify? I think there is no subject. I think we need to say they have to.
Yeah. So what would you do there, Zara?
They have to, for example, they have to identify, or
Nice.
they should any model.
Yeah, they have to or they should. You could use that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because, and this is kind of what we talked about initially with Mings, that we want to make sure that you have the same, we've got people, they. And what about this one? Following that, what should we say here? Because again, for following that, learn how to say no.
They can, for example.
Yeah, they can or they should. Learn how to say no to demanding people. Finally, it's recommended to involve themselves. So Beatrice, you see how that is. You want to make sure that you have a consistent subject in all of the paragraph.
Okay.
You know, and it's easy to either and we all do it, especially when we're drafting at the beginning. We either say you should do this, they should do this, you know, I could do this. But then once you actually revise your writing, you want to be very consistent with the subject.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Zara, too, because that I'm glad you pointed that out.
Thank you, sir.
The first step is to identify what. Now here I'm going to make it, Bradley, what makes people worry. Then, nice, take a drink such as tea. And I would make it singular since it's a drink such as tea. Can make people relax. Remember too, Bradley, for this, because here's your real verb, can make. So take a drink. How do we turn that into a noun phrase? What do we do to that verb take? What?
Taking.
Yeah. Taking a drink such as tea can make people relax. Oh, nice. This is a nice phrase. Moreover, exercising regular, and I'm going to make this an adverb because it's, exercising regularly is a good way to relax. Finally, and as we saw with Beatrice's too, we want to say it is recommended to take time to talk to good friends or family to release pressure. Those are great ideas. Fix that. Yeah.
Does the first sentence is okay?
The first step is to identify what makes people worry. Grammatically, it's okay. Yeah.
Because for me, I always use, for example, the first step is that. I don't know, is that necessary or I just added like this?
Well, if you're going to say the first step is, actually, no, I think with the first step, it's better to use the infinitive with to. The first step is to identify. Now, if you wanted to have a subject, you could say the first step is for the worried person to identify what makes them feel that way. But it's better to use the infinitive to, Zara, okay? Now, something tells me we have something from my friend Krista. It's true. Let me see what I can.
Underline.
All right. Let's see what we got. Solutions to people who worry too much. Okay. Now here, I'm going to make this. Here you can say the first step is to identify their worries. These worries, then, this is great. Now notice Christelle has used it in the middle of the sentence, and that's perfect. These worries then need to be written down. Well, that's actually a good idea. I should do that. I may do this right after class. I'm going to write down my worries. Could be a long list. Next, they have to come up with clear strategies to address each worry. Now notice, when you use the word each, what do we have to change for worries?
Singular.
Yeah. Each worry in the list.
Right.
For example, if the problem is about, and I would say, you could either say a bill or you could say bills. One solution is to find credit. Nice. Finally, these worried individuals should practice some exercises or meditation, such as yoga. Nice. To heal their mind and learn to stay sharp and challenging. Oh, that's beautiful. How to stay sharp in challenging situations. Why they don't like that? I like it. And notice one thing I want to point out to you guys, and this is very nice. Christelle, as she wrote this, is she actually gave us a different type of transition word that notice we've got the first step, then, next, finally. But then in the middle of that, she used another one to show for that next component an example. These are really nice because they're so clear. Beautiful. Any questions about any of these?
Yeah, for me, I have.
Yes.
Can we say these worries need to be written down then?
These worries?
I just changed the place for then.
To move it to the end?
Yeah.
Actually, no. You could put it at the beginning. Then these worries need to be written down, or these worries then need to be written down. But you don't want to put it at the end.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because having then at the end of a sentence is more of an emphatic thing. So if I tell you, you know, I really want to test you guys more on grammar. I really want to do it. And then you might say, oh, so does that mean you're going to give us more quizzes then? And I'd say, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I will. But it's not really about ordering. It's then more about sort of an emphasize, which is a tricky thing. So I'm glad you pointed that out, Zara. Other questions? Let me see what I can do. Thank you, guys. Those were really nice paragraphs. I'm actually really thrilled with those. Okay, guys, I'm going to ask you now to do just one thing more. And you can do this on your own. Take a couple minutes, and then I'm going to share the answers with you. See what you can do. This is also in your book on page 191, number 3.2. Take a couple of minutes, look at this, and I want you to put them in order. Part of what you need to do is you need to look at those transition words and figure out what makes sense, but you also need to look at the content to make sense. Because this is a paragraph about making health a focus in your life. You know, guys, I've spent too many years in my life just worried about work. Health is important. Work is good. I mean, we have to work, but we also need to take care of our health.
That's true.
Thank you. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll share the answers with you. One other idea too, as you're looking at these, pay attention to how the words, the key words are used. So if you see journal in one item, it's probably going to have journal in an item right around there. All right, guys, how you feeling? You feel like you got something going here? You ready to see my answers?
Yeah.
I hope that you all, what number did you put next to the one that says next, keep a journal for a week?
For me, number 2.
What you? Me too.
I agree. So to begin, you acknowledge you need to focus on your health. Next, keep a journal for a week and write down what you eat. What do you think after that?
Subsequently.
Yes.
I like it. Subsequently, look at your journal and circle the unhealthy foods that you ate during the week. What do you think would be next after that?
Next, keep
At the same time, maybe.
a journal.
At the same time.
At the same time, which one?
Circle the thing
Circle the
that you
things
did.
that
Circle the thing.
Yeah, at the same time, circle the things you did that were unnecessary. I hope you wouldn't circle your homework because that's necessary. But I think I watch too much TV, so I know that's a problem. What's after that one?
After
Number 5. Which one do you have for number 5?
After you examine your journal, substitute.
Exactly. So after you examine your journal, substitute unhealthy foods with healthy foods. That's easier said than done, by the way. What's number 6 then?
At the same time, maybe.
Yeah, at the same time, you're going to substitute an hour of TV with an hour of exercise. You know what I did? I actually put a an exercise bike, you know, one of those stationary bicycles in front of my TV. So now it's like a closet because I put all my clothes on top of it. All right, what's after number 6? Finally, evaluate how you feel after 3 weeks. And then we have a little added thing also. Hopefully you'll create a new healthy habit for yourself. So those are the answers there. You can see if you agree.
Oh, you know, when I read that, I thought number 7 is finally and number 8 is also, but I said, I think we can't use also at the end after finally.
Well, that's a good point, although you can, because what you're saying is essentially with that also you're saying, finally you do this and finally also this happens. So it could work.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you could put it somewhere else. Did anyone put it somewhere different?
Could you say what this means subsequently?
Yeah, subsequently is not a term that we had in our book, so I'm glad you noticed that. That means the next thing. So it's like following that. Subsequent means later. So it's actually a really nice term to use. Subsequently is, instead of before, it means like after, but more fancy. Okay? Any questions?
Nope.
Guys, I know you just finished your final draft for the first essay, but I don't want you to be bored. I don't want you to have nothing to do. So you're going to have another timed writing assignment that's going to be due this coming Sunday. The same as last time. I'm going to ask you to submit it as a text file or as text where you can copy and paste it in the quiz, and then also submit it as a Word document. Mariam, did you have a question?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. And I'm going to give you that assignment on Thursday, and then you're going to need to complete it anytime between Thursday and midnight on Sunday. Okay? And I'm going to ask you to complete, we've already done some of the exercises, but try to complete the rest of the exercises in Unit 16. Please bring any questions that you may have. I find sometimes the things with the it construction can be a little confusing, so if you have questions, I understand that completely. On Thursday, we're also going to take a look at how we actually put citations in the text. So we'll work on that a little bit. And then homework that's due at the end of this week. You don't have to worry about it this minute, but at the end of the week, the quiz, which you can take as many times as you want. Post a couple of times in our discussion board. Healthy life. You can compare your answers to the exercises in Unit 16 with the answer key. And of course, as I just mentioned, you've got the timed writing. And then you're also going to start thinking about, it's not listed here, but you're going to start thinking about your next edited essay that you're going to write. I'm very excited to hear your ideas for that. So I think we are done. Yes, Beatrice?
Can we choose the theme, or you will say a few of them? You will give it.
I'm going to give you a list of possible topics, but I'm also going to give you the option for the edited essay. You can choose a different topic, but you just have to get me to approve it. And it's going to be what we call an analytical report, where you're looking at two sides of things.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
Any
it.
questions before we break?
No, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. You did wonderful work. I will see you Thursday. I have office hours tomorrow afternoon, so if anybody wants to see me, please let me know. And I love to see you guys because I just sit here sad and lonely. My office hour. So please come see me. Okay, guys, have a good day. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Thank you.
You
Thank
too.
you.
I think next
Bye,
class,
everybody.
Pardon?
can I say something?
Yes.
Next class, I will bring a happy news. I hope.
Oh, good. Well, I love happy news. So please bring it and we will celebrate. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Zara. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.